My name is Chris Lloyd, and I'm joined here by Dr. Amanda Garcia. We're going to be talking about our public relations and marketing programs. So for those of you that have tuned in for our other webinars, you've seen that we broadcast here in one of our digital design labs. So Dr. Garcia is both a specialist in digital design as well as public relations and marketing. So we're going to dive in today, talk a little bit about our offerings. But for those of you who are joining us, just make sure to submit any questions through chat, through Q&A, and we'll also be distributing this after the session ends. So really briefly, to go over our agenda, we're going to talk tonight about who we are, meaning who SOPA is and Tulane, what we offer, how we support student success, how to actually apply tuition and financial aid, and then we'll have a little bit of a Q&A at the back end, but if there's no questions, we'll just wrap up early. So Dr. Garcia, can you tell us a little bit about your background in the public relations and marketing space?
Sure, absolutely. So I have a big background in graphic design, but I also, for about almost 20 years now, have worked in the advertising, PR, and marketing professional world. So although I'm traditionally trained as a graphic designer, a lot of the clients that we work with and a lot of our community partners are in the marketing and PR space. So, you know, what we really like to see here at SOPA is interdisciplinary work and how all of the programs kind of work together to create a holistic experience. And so I would say that PR, digital media marketing, and advertising kind of spills over into many of the different programs that we have. And so I really pull from my background in design and marketing to kind of inform this curriculum and inform the decisions we're making for students. Yeah.
That is such an awesome intro for this, because I think you're really hitting at some of the things that we're going to be going over tonight in depth, which is that overlap and that sort of interdisciplinary nature of the field. So we'll go into depth about our offerings here in a moment. For those of you that have tuned in before, you've probably seen too much of me by now, but my name is Chris Lloyd, and I'm an admissions associate here at Tulane SOPA. So typically my role is working with all of our prospective students here, people who are still evaluating what our offerings are, or people who maybe are a current student and are looking at continuing on into another program. So when you're thinking about applying or you just want to find out more information, follow up with me and I can help to connect you with some of the amazing resources we have here, like Dr. Garcia.
Sure.
So a little bit of an overview about Tulane SOPA. So initially, Tulane University was founded in 1834 as Medical College of Louisiana. For those of you that were around at that time, which I'm guessing will be no one, you've seen the college change quite a bit. And one of those big changes was our offering of continuing education classes in 1886. That's where you saw Tulane really start to offer community-based education to where people who are out here in the greater New Orleans area and South Louisiana can get access to some of that high-quality education. So it's one of those fringe benefits of being in a city that has a really world-class university. And so since then, we've had quite a few changes. So locals might know us as University College or Continuing Studies, but in 2017, we actually rebranded to be the School of Professional Advancement. Part of that was getting at what Dr. Garcia was talking about, which is this overlap and interdisciplinary nature of a lot of fields and trying to represent these fields in a way that's actually going to reflect what's needed for employers. So we have that big focus on making sure that the adults that are enrolled here are getting an education that isn't something that's outdated. It's not something that's going to be based in old practices. And part of that includes an emphasis on online education. So for the programs we're talking about tonight, we'll be talking about a variety of different modes that you get for delivery, whether it's online, in person, some combination of those. But the majority of our offerings here at Tulane SOPA are available in an online format. With some like digital design, where that lab space is really important, you're not going to see the online offerings favored as heavily. But for some of those other courses, for those of you looking at maybe a bachelor's, you do have that ability to where you can take on the majority of your classwork online. And for those of you looking at some of those master's programs, there are masters that can be completed entirely online. So if you have a busy schedule, you're someone where it's a little bit difficult to get into a traditional classroom routine, that's where this flexibility is really going to help you. So part of that is also we have night and weekend classes. So right now, outside of this room, we have classrooms filled with students who are all here working on their various coursework, whether it's digital design students in the lab next to us, or students taking their English classes just down the hall. So when you come here in the evening to see that there's a buzz of activity, and one of the things that I personally enjoy about this is that we have a lot of student engagement here. You know, we have these different labs set up, and right now in one of the labs, digital design has a student over there whose purpose is to help students with their work. And I think that kind of support is really rare, and is also something where it's a huge selling point. It's something where when you know you have that kind of visible support when you just walk in on a weeknight while classes are going on, it's a good tell about some of those other offerings that are out there.
And I will say that online courses can be very daunting to students, especially if you've never had an online course before. But know that we have faculty here on site. So if you're in an online course and you're in the greater New Orleans area and need to meet with a faculty member, even if that faculty member is not located in New Orleans, we're here for you, where we can meet with you, we can answer questions, we can help you go through the material. So you're not on an island, right? I think that's some of the misconceptions with online education, is that you feel like you're on your own. And that's not the case at all. So when you hear that we have online classes, also know that we have people on ground, such as Chris and I, right, who are here for you, as well as other faculty that can always step in and help out, even if your course specifically is online.
Yeah, and to build off of that, we actually have many students who they'll come here and use the space to take their online courses so that they have that support. They make sure they have a good facility, a good setup, so that they're not somewhere maybe at home where there's kids or pets or other obligations that might be bothering them, and it really allows you to take control of your schoolwork and take it on at either the pacing that's right for you or in an environment that's supportive of your goals.
Absolutely.
So what we're going to be talking about tonight and heavily focusing in on are our bachelor's and professional certificate offerings. Dr. Garcia is a content expert in this area, but we're not going to go into too great of depth about the courses and things like that. What we're going to talk about more generally is about how the programs are designed, what sort of classes you'll be taking, and what are the outcomes for students who enroll in this program. So if you have those in-depth questions where you want to know about a specific course, know about specific certifications, that's where you'll want to follow up with us after. Connecting with Dr. Garcia is really a great first step, because she can help you to figure out, are you going to be able to get what you want out of the program? Or if you're a transfer student, connecting with our academic advisors, seeing where you're going to be at when you transfer over. So what I first want to dive into is, can you talk a little bit about what the bachelor's offerings are for public relations and marketing?
Absolutely. So in our bachelor's program, as you've probably seen online, our bachelor's is in public relations, but there are two concentrations within our public relations degree. So we have your traditional public relations track. So this is something if you're looking to go into a public relations firm or field or consult to do PR, traditional PR. And then we also have our digital media marketing communications. It's a mouthful. Everybody say it with me. Digital media, you're not doing it. Digital media and marketing communications. Good job.
I tried.
Say it 5 times fast. And then, anyway, so DMMC is our lovely shorthand for this. And so you would take a core of public relations courses as well as your regular, bachelor's coursework. And then when you hit about your junior year, you would start to take your concentration courses. So if you decide to continue on in public relations, you would do your junior and senior level courses in public relations. If you decide to go into the digital media marketing communications, then you would take your courses in those concentrations. So for the digital media marketing communications, you're looking at going into fields where you might go into digital marketing strategy, content management, etc. For digital ad placement. Overall strategic placement in the digital space. So your foundations in those public relations core competency classes, that's going to give you classes such as like ethics in the media, public relations techniques so that you understand strategy and research. And then when you get into the junior and senior level classes, once again, that's when you declare your concentration and you can sort of break out and take courses that better define where you want to be, your career goals after graduation.
I think you just parsed that in a way that I really could not have for the people that are watching. So Dr. Garcia really did a great synthesis there, where she took this large concept of public relations and marketing and started distilling it to those specifics. We're talking about job roles, some of the functions that you'll actually be doing. And then earlier we were talking about the interdisciplinary nature of the fields. And when you're thinking about these sort of job titles that we're talking about, it extends beyond just that public relations, marketing, digital media. And there's a lot of interplay maybe in the role that some of you are currently in now, or maybe the role that you want to go into. And for business owners, for people, maybe you're an independent business person, having those sort of tools in your toolkit can be really helpful. And you know, there's not just that bachelor's pathway for you either. So with the bachelor's, you're looking at 120 credits, which for people who are, maybe it's your first time in school, you're wanting to go back, get that whole experience, that's where you want those 120 credits. But maybe you're in a situation where you want a skill update. And that's where I'm starting to see students coming in who are looking more at those professional certificates.
Absolutely, yeah. So we have 3 professional certificates. So we have a certificate in the digital media marketing communications. So you can come in and take your courses within that content area. And it's a minimum of 4 courses, but you can take additional courses. What we see is a lot of students come in, they take 2 or 3, they realize, oh, I can take this other PR course and this design course, and they kind of stay around for a long time because we have really great course offerings. So it's a minimum of 4 to complete the certificate, but then you can continue on, you can get another certificate, etc. So our other one is in public relations. So we have a public relations, we have certificate in digital media marketing, and then we have certificate just in marketing. So let's say that you work in a PR firm and more of your boss is asking you, or you're seeing a need that you can fill, right, or a gap you can fill within your firm of strategy, marketing strategy. So you understand the PR side, right, but you really want to know more about marketing, the principles of marketing, the ethics of marketing, all of those things that kind of help you grow in your career or just be better at what you're doing day to day, right? So you're more knowledgeable working with agencies and firms, etc. So that's where those certificates really come in handy. So if you're in the PR field or design field and want to learn more about marketing, we have that certificate specifically in marketing. If you are, let's say, in a marketing field but need to fill that digital media marketing gap, right? So you went through a traditional, let's say, marketing program for your undergraduate, or just whatever associates, whatever you may have done, right? Then you want to come and get a certificate in digital media marketing, you can pop straight into that. Once again, it's adding on to that knowledge base that you already have. So we're expecting somebody coming into these programs to have a little bit of a background in a related area. That way you're not starting from ground zero, right? Like we're building on a knowledge base you already have. If you do come in baseline, like you don't have any career experience or professional experience or schooling in any of these areas, we do have some other foundational courses that we could recommend for you to kind of build up to those certificates as well. So that's a question that we get a lot as well. I'm not in this area at all, right? Like, can I jump straight in? And the answer is yes. We can recommend, once again, those foundational courses that will help you build up the confidence to then jump into those certificates.
Yeah, and I think that that also segues really well into something that I'm sure a lot of people are wondering is, what are the requirements for these programs? So with the bachelor's, typical requirement that we're looking for is you've successfully completed a high school program, that you have that proof of graduation, and that's the same for the professional certificates as well. But with the professional certificates, there's more of an emphasis on that personal or professional experience that you may have had. So Dr. Garcia really briefly talked about it, but with the certificate in digital media and marketing communications, you really need those foundational courses to be able to succeed in there. And so students who are coming in without any background, that's where you'd be taking a prerequisite course. And those are honestly things that can help you. Or they can maybe put you on that pathway towards other certificates, towards the full bachelor's. So really, if there's a foundational course being asked of you, it's to ensure that you have that skill set. But otherwise, we're not expecting people to be coming out of 20 years in the field and wanting to dive in and get this skill update. We have a diversity of experiences. So don't let the idea of a prerequisite be what scares you off. And with the bachelor's, you get that opportunity to take courses across these disciplines or across these concentrations. And that's where you really get an opportunity to sort of dial in, focus on the content that's really important to you. And something that I just saw today was a student who is finishing their bachelor's expressed how disappointed they were that they submitted their request for graduation because there's still more classes they want to take. And it's like, what an interesting conundrum there to where
we have a lot of students that do that. They stick around.
And I think that's a testament to the quality of work that's being done here, whether you're in digital media and marketing communications at like the professional certificate level and you're moving into other certificates, or whether you're at that bachelor's level, is that I think the quality of the offerings really speak for themselves. And if you encounter our students out in the working world, you'll see there's a high degree of rigor asked here, and there's also, it's very current. I've hit on that one a couple of times. I really can't sell enough how important it is that when you're working in that digital space to have a foundational education that is based in current practices.
Yeah, absolutely. I will also mention that if you're, and you may have this on the next slide, but just to touch on this, if you are receiving your bachelor's degree, you may also minor in either marketing, digital media marketing communications, public relations, if you're in something else, or in advertising. So we have a minor in advertising as well. And so typically minors are between 15 to 18 credit hours. So we have a lot of students who add that additional minor, once again, to fill that gap. We also have a lot of PR and digital media marketing students who minor in digital design because they want to understand the design side of how to bring those ideas to life, basically. You know? So once again, very interdisciplinary. You know, we can meet with you one-on-one and figure out what is the best pathway to meet your career goals. That's really what it all boils down to.
So just for those of you who are watching, we've just briefly gone over the bachelor's and a little bit about the certificate programs. In terms of time to completion with the bachelor's, if you're coming in, we have no transfer credits. You're probably looking at somewhere in that 4 to 5 year range, unless you're taking full-time at that top end of the full-time where you're really making school your primary focus. Otherwise, our students aren't going to have the same sort of pacing requirements you might see at other schools, to where if you're not hitting certain marks by X number of years, the credits are voided or you lose that. So with a professional certificate, you really have a way to not have to worry about those pacing requirements and then use that towards your bachelor's. So there's pathways here that can allow you to sort of stack your experiences and be able to move towards your longer term goal without having to worry about the timing piece of it. So maybe you have an employer who's offering to pay, or you have some sort of limited time where you can use funding available to you. That's where those professional certificates can be really useful. So, you know, we're seeing people who maybe they work in the field already and they want to know those skills so they can help to evaluate vendors, so they can use those skills in their day-to-day work. And that's where those professional certificates can be really useful for you. But also, maybe you're someone where you don't want to go into a graduate program.
Right,
you don't want to commit to that full experience, but you need something in the field. That's where the professional certificate can be really powerful for you. It's a testament to that you have experience in the field and you have experience that's current. So one of the things that Dr. Garcia has been hitting on so far is that these are sort of job-ready skills. And some of the roles that our students are going into tend to be those roles that help to sort of shape the image or the aesthetic of where they are. So for those of you in the GNO region, you're seeing some of the work of our students, you're seeing some of the work of people who are in that digital media and marketing communication space. You know, all of those advertising collateral that you see, billboards, those images, those pop-ups that you get, those things that are telling you to visit NOLA or telling you about all these upcoming events.
Or SOPA. If you Google us, you're getting all our ads. We know, we're sorry, but we're not, because it brought you here, right? But that's digital media marketing, right? So basically, you're going to learn the strategy behind that, how to set up a drip campaign. What does that even mean, right? All of those things, which we're very familiar with, right? You'll learn all of that in that certificate as well.
I love it that you picked up exactly where I was going with that. No, that perfect transition. Because that's what I was trying to get at to you guys, is that you might not realize the ever-present nature of this work in what you see daily. And that if you're someone where you want to be really involved in shaping the image and the aesthetic of your business, of your community, maybe even doing this as part of your charitable service towards your community, having these skills improves the end product. So some of our students are going to roles like marketing managers, or maybe digital media, doing digital media strategies, you know, things to where that's a really substantive impact. You know, it might not seem an abstract, like you're having that sort of impact, but think about how much what you experience in New Orleans, the city you live in, wherever you are, is defined by those advertising choices, by the way your city is represented.
Right, absolutely.
We're broadcasting right now from the city of yes. Think about that. Someone had to come up with that, bring it, and then be able to strategize around that.
Yeah.
Maybe you're the person out there who has that next it moment for your place where you live, and these skills can help you to reach that.
Yeah. Got no. We could do this all night. Do you want to see if you can get the most? I think I would win.
I think you would. I think by virtue of experience and being our content
More
expert.
chicken? Come on, you can do it.
Got beef.
Got beef. Okay. Just do it. That was from, well, the logo was designed by a high school student. Did you know that? At Nike? Yeah, I mean, $13. It was, yeah, long story. We'll get into that in class. More to come. Okay.
One of the things you can learn is maybe how you can get a better rate for your work.
Yeah, don't charge $13.
That's where that business ethics piece might come in.
Probably, yeah.
So we've covered most of the content about the program. So what I want to talk about is some of the ways that we help to support student success. One of those ways is what you're seeing right now. You're seeing the content expertise of Dr. Garcia. So with her being program director for our digital design program, she interacts with a lot of students. And then with her being a content expert and being the lead for our digital media and marketing and public relations, she's the person who can help you to really take your vision, that abstract idea of where you want to go, and make it into a functional plan. Map out courses with you, or maybe go meet, if you're at that bachelor's or certificate level, you meet with your academic advisor, and they help you to plan out your next 2 years, help you to figure out how you can use what you've learned in class as a springboard towards your career, and they'll link you up with maybe someone like our career advisor, Ms. Cynthia Washington. So for those of you joining us now, Ms. Cynthia just wrapped up a session in a room down the hall in the last half hour where she helped people practice for job interviews and learn how to better sell themselves and represent themselves. So you've got that backing from that strong academic advising support. You've got the content expertise of people like Dr. Garcia, and then you have a career advisor who is for SOPA students only. So you're not fighting against everyone at Tulane to get access to your advisors. You're not fighting for everyone at Tulane. Again, you're not fighting against everyone at Tulane in order to be able to meet with a career advisor for that next step after you leave. And I think that's a unique level of access. The fact that I'm able to sit here with the program director of program and talk about this just shows you that level of access and commitment. We want students to succeed, and some of the ways that we really help to support that are things like our faculty and classroom composition. So we talked about this really briefly about the diversity of the experiences that people have coming into here. That not everyone is an industry vet. Not everyone is fresh out of high school either. And I think our faculty shares that unique composition too. You told us a little bit about the general makeup of what our faculty is here.
Absolutely. So all of our faculty are content experts in their area. So if it's somebody teaching, let's say, the creating digital content class, it's something that they're doing in the workplace for their full-time job, right? Or perhaps they own a digital marketing company and they do that day in and day out, and then they are coming at night or online or wherever, and they are teaching that specific topic to you. So all of our faculty are content experts in that specific course. So we, once again, like Chris said, we can make sure that everything that you're learning is as up to date as possible because they are practicing it. So they are teaching you what is being practiced in the workforce. When there's new innovations, when there's new techniques, they're updating the classes, right? So everything is evolving constantly. I know when we were writing the curriculum for digital design and now the new digital media marketing communications, if you see the titles of the courses, they're a little vague. We did that on purpose. The course descriptions are very broad because what we want to do is be able to fold in new projects, new content every single semester and evolve with how the industry is evolving. So to get back to your question, all of our faculty, no matter what class they're teaching, they are experts in that specific area. So it's a really great way for you to, once again, stay on top of what's trending, what's new, and what will be expected in the workforce, but also make those industry connections. We have a lot of faculty, once again, who are in agency situations or PR firms, et cetera, and they have contact with these students. And if they see that you're a superstar, they may ask you to intern at their company, or they may recommend you to a friend of theirs who owns XYZ company. So it's all about networking. And because most of our faculty are professionals here in the greater New Orleans area, that's another way that we help to connect students back to the industry, the workforce, but also our community, right? Really building that sense of community. Yeah.
Again, perfect segue, because part of that community is that network of Tulane alumni. So people who in here either as like faculty, staff, students, and they're still here in that Geno region, that are here worldwide even.
Yeah.
Those are the people who have the ability to help to find a role for you. And that's really powerful there.
Yep.
You know, when you combine that with the work that Cynthia Washington's doing, and you have your own network to draw from, you're going to be going out to the workforce with the best possible representation of yourself. And being able to sell yourself is a key skill. That's not something you're going to walk into a classroom and learn.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
that you have access to faculty, you have access to career advising, and you can synthesize all of those things.
Yeah.
That's the hallmark, I think, of SOPA.
Yeah.
You have access to a community beyond that ivory tower of academia, and you're interacting on a daily basis in your courses with people who work in the field. You're not going into a class to learn about 56K modems and how to advertise in newspapers and daily newspapers like it's 1880 or something like that. You know, this is actually real world skills that are applicable today. You know, search engine optimization and strategies for how to actually achieve a good brand imprint. That's huge. I mean, just from our professional experience and our roles here, we see that there are people who excel in these fields and are able to make really wonderful careers based on these same skills that you're learning. So think about how you can apply those skills towards where you're at right now. Because some of you are probably watching this from every corner of the United States. And I'm sure there's someone in your city, in your region, who needs someone with those skills to help them become that next big selling point for them. So one of the other ways that I think we really help to support student success is through credits for prior learning. So with that, I'll go into depth about it here in just a moment, but that's a way where we can recognize the hard work that you've done professionally or maybe through volunteer work and ensure that you get credits for it. That's a way to reduce your time in school. So for those of you who are doing that full bachelor's and maybe you've been out of school for a little bit and you're worried about taking on that obligation, those credits for prior learning can be huge. You've got that experience from your work. You've got that experience maybe from your military service, maybe from that passion that you had, that you volunteered and kept working in that field, and we want to recognize that. The first step to getting that recognized is starting your application. So if you're watching and joining us tonight and you registered for this, we're going to make sure that you get an application fee waiver. So that means the $40 it normally costs to apply to any of our undergrad or certificate programs, you don't have to worry about that. So if you have transcripts you have to order, you can put that money towards that, or treat yourself to a nice dinner. Enjoy that money instead of putting it towards something. You know, you don't have any skin in the game with this, and it lets you kind of progress to that next step without the financial obligation. So you'll go to sopa.tulane.edu, you use that green apply button and start your application. From there, what you'll do is you'll need to put all of your basic information about who you are, where you've been to school, program level you're applying to, all those things that'll be really simple for you. It shouldn't take you more than 5 or 10 minutes. And then the other pieces, which might be a little more difficult, are giving us a clear copy of your photo ID, an unexpired photo ID, because we want to know who's submitting this application. We want to be sure that it's you submitting it. And that last piece, any transcripts you have. So if you're just applying for a bachelor's or professional certificate level and say you haven't attended any colleges, you haven't done anything after graduating high school that would be an official academic history, then that's where you can provide us maybe with just a photo of your diploma so that we know that you graduated high school. And from there, we get you started on that journey a little quicker. If you're sending in transcripts and it's not just that photo of the diploma, you can send them digitally or physically Digitally, you can send them to soparecords@tulane.edu. So SOPA records at tulane.edu. So if you're using Parchment, any of those delivery services, just use that address. And if you're sending them physically, or maybe you're dropping off an unopened, sealed copy that you still have, that can go to 800 East Commerce Road, Suite 100 in Harahan, Louisiana. And the zip code for that is 70123. You'll just address that to Tulane SOPA, or you can even address it to me, because I'm going to be the one who actually goes and reviews those records. So if you have any questions along the way, definitely reach out. But that transcript process is the one that's a little more time intensive, since you're waiting for the school to actually prepare it for you. So for those of you who are thinking about that spring or summer session, you still have quite a bit of time to start the application. So January 1st is going to be your deadline for spring, and then May 15th for summer. For both of those dates, that would be a fully completed application submitted at that time. So if you have those unofficial transcripts, we can use those as part of the review process in order to help expedite the admissions decision, but we'll still need those final official transcripts. So if you're finishing out classes right now or anything like that, you'll have to be sure at the end of the semester to include it. If you need a little bit of a longer runway, fall of 2020, you've got until August 15th. So that gives you a lot of time to evaluate, figure out what credits might transfer, say if you're a transfer student, or start planning out what classes you're going to take. Talk to your academic advisor, talk to someone like Dr. Garcia to find out a little bit more about those concrete differences between the various concentrations and how it matches with your career aspirations. So now for that last little logistical piece that never any fun to talk about, tuition financially. So for those of you watching, you're probably wondering, well, this sounds great, but how do I pay for my classes? So Tulane SOPA offers standard financial aid. So with that, I mean, you do a FAFSA and you have access to federal grants, federal loans, so things like Pell Grants, any of those that you qualify for at any other school in the United States. Those are the types of things that Tulane SOPA still has. There's no difference in what sort of financial aid offerings you have, with the exception of that we do have some of our own scholarships. So just a few weeks ago, it was announced that over $50,000 in scholarships were awarded to Tulane SOPA students. That number, you should see that grow as you're here, as we start to see more and more people recognize the great work being done by SOPA students. And maybe you could be one of the people that claim some of that scholarship aid. Some of the other ways that we can also help to reduce that cost of tuition is we have tuition discount waivers available for those of you who maybe you were a first responder, you're a veteran, you're a teacher here in Jefferson Parish or Orleans Parish, you work for Jefferson Parish or Orleans Parish, maybe you are National Guard or retired, whatever circumstance you fall into in there, check with us and see if that's something where you can get that tuition discount, reduce your cost of attendance. And then we also offer things like the Yellow Ribbon Scholarship. So for any of our veterans out there, that's a way to reduce any of that shortfall between your GI Bill and any other educational benefits you have and cost of attendance. So you can effectively reduce your out-of-pocket cost to zero by taking advantage of things like the Yellow Ribbon Scholarship. So that's huge for some of our veterans out there. And then the last little piece is the actual cost of attendance. So for students who are attending for this term and for next term, right now what you have it set at is $474 a credit hour for undergraduate. And for those of you who are maybe looking at programs beyond what we've talked about today, that's where you might be looking at a graduate program where you're looking at $1,039 per credit hour. So if you're comparing it regionally or to other schools, you're going to see that it's pretty comparable in terms of the cachet and quality of education you get. So you're walking out of here with a Tulane University degree. There's no comma, there's no colons, there's nothing saying that this is a SOPA degree or that you took online classes. It's just a Tulane degree. For those of you in the G&O area, those of you in Southern Louisiana, you've probably seen that weight that Tulane degree can carry. And when we talk about that network of Tulane alumni, that's part of what we mean, is the people who recognize the work that's been done by Tulane SOPA students, that's been done by Tulane students. So you could fit into that community and be able to make use of those alumni resources. And the first step could be that professional certificate, starting that bachelor's and working your way through until you find exactly that right role for yourself. So I briefly spoke about this before, but the credits for prior learning is a way where you really leverage that professional experience you have. So maybe you served in the military and you were a communications officer and your primary role was digital media and marketing. And that's something where you don't have, say, a joint services transcript that shows that you earned credits for that. Well, the credits for prior learning is a way where you can take a portfolio class, and at the undergraduate level, you can receive up to 24 credits from that portfolio class. So whether that's you've taken certifications at your role, you've worked in the role for a long time and have those essential skills, this is a way to reduce your time in school, reduce your cost. That portfolio class is going to be cheaper than going and taking 24 credits. When you think about 120 credit bachelors, you're basically taking off almost 2 semesters of time there, which is huge for those of you who are working adults and those of you who might have obligations that are really going to limit the amount of time you have for school. And I think that's huge. And then at the graduate level, for those of you who maybe looking at other programs, you can also do that and receive up to 6 credits from the portfolio assessment. So that's a huge cost savings too. So just think about all these different ways that you can really leverage your experience in order to get more value out of it. So that covers all of our content for right now. So I just want to check real quick, see if we've got any chat or Q&A going. If there's anyone here who wants to know anything specific or you have any other interests, definitely make use of this chat Q&A function. But what I also recommend is reach out to me. So I'm going to share my, I've got my information shared on the screen right now, but if you're a call-in listener, I'm just going to read it out for you. CLLOYD3@tulane.edu, CLOYD3, tulane.edu. It's the best way to reach me. But you can also call me and call our main Elmwood line at 504-865-5333. That's 865-5333. Make use of that and set up a time where you can learn more about these programs. Dr. Garcia has a wealth of knowledge, the faculty have a wealth of knowledge, and our students here are happy to talk through and show some of the amazing work they've done. So typically in any of the digital design labs that we're broadcasting from, we've got examples of our student work. Come here and see some of those examples of that digital media and marketing work. Come here and learn about some of the strategies that our students are helping to develop, because they may not fit into this nice visual package like this, but I'm sure you'll be impressed when you get the opportunity to really learn about the depth and skill that these students have. So it looks like we don't have anyone who's itching to learn anything new right now or has any burning questions, but that just means they haven't developed yet. So when they do, make sure you follow up with me, follow up with Dr. Garcia. Otherwise, thank you for giving us a little bit of your evening, or if you're replaying this on your lunch break later, thank you for giving us some of your time. Make sure to take advantage of that free application waiver. Thank you so much for your time, Dr. Garcia.
Thanks for doing this. I appreciate it. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.